Hey friends, welcome back to BIMvoice. Today I have the pleasure to talk to Artur Tomczak, my fellow friend from Norway, who now has started to work at Building Smart as a BSDD manager. Hello, Artur.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, good to be here. Even though we are both in Oslo, we meet online, but we will see each other probably in March, right?
Yeah, I'll try to set up that bi-monthly meeting, I guess, that became now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see you physically as well. It's a bit easier to record online.
Of course.
Yeah, a bit more flexible. Before you start presenting yourself, let me just briefly say what we are going to cover today. Artur is going to teach us a lot about IDS and BSDD, two things that are very, very interesting and very powerful, governed by Building Smart International. Now, please introduce yourself.
I'm Artur Tomczak, and I'm originally from Poland. I've been here and there, but right now I'm in Oslo. And I came to Norway 2.5 years ago. And I came to Trondheim during the COVID times to make my PhD. And I'm doing a PhD on the digitalization that can support circularity of our buildings. So how can we make use of the technology to make our buildings more sustainable? And I'm still doing that PhD in Trondheim, even though I moved to Oslo a few months ago. And it's good to be here with all of those BIM experts located in Oslo, like you. And
Thanks.
So briefly about me. So I graduated structural engineering, and then I quickly became interested in BIM. It all started in 2013 on my exchange in Finland, where I heard about BIM. And then I was really interested. I started to learn Revit. I started to learn Grasshopper, Rhino, and I quickly decided to go to this path. I then found a job at Bura Happold, where I stayed for, I think it was 6 years at Bura Happold in Warsaw. For those that don't know, it's a global company from UK that covers structural and MEP services mostly. And there I was responsible for many things. I started as a BIM technician, then I was managing BIM on some projects, but most of the time I was doing what you now call computational engineering. So in simpler words, I was automating our design work. So I was trying to write scripts in Dynamo, Grasshopper, Python, a bit of C# to make our work faster so that we don't have those repetitive processes, but also that we can make much more quality assurance, that we check the data before we publish it or share with clients. So that was what I was doing. And then at some point, I started to be also interested in our impact on the planet and how our decisions influence environment. And within Bura Happold, I was interested how we can automate life cycle assessment. So this analysis of the impact of our buildings, of our designs on the planet. And that's how I got involved in this sphere. And then by recommendation, I got this offer to do a PhD in Trondheim, which was really great opportunity. And I learned a lot since I joined. And I hope that BIM can not only make our work faster, but also make something good for the planet.
Yeah, you don't hope, it's happening.
Yes,
you contribute to that. So,
yes. So I can only hope it will be even greater influence.
Yeah, well, we have no choice. We need to do it. We like it or not. We have people denying that. That's fine. That's their business. I personally prefer to take accountability for that and try to do something if I can. So I see you do the same. So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's very nice.
Yeah, somebody could, for example, blame us for only talking and flying to conferences and spending a lot of our carbon points, let's say, on doing this. But if you look at it, buildings are responsible for 40% of the emissions compared to the aviation industry, which is only 2.5. So we can make much bigger impact if we do something about it. And now we come to the point where I got the offer to be involved in the BSDD, so the Building Smart Data Dictionary, which happened only quite recently, but I was involved in Building Smart activities for some time already. Because I don't know if you remember, we had the discussion 2 years ago that we should do a podcast on IDS, but we didn't find time then. So now is the moment.
Yeah, and now it's very, very good that you are even deeper into all these things, and we are going to have some interesting stuff to talk about, and we are in an interesting position. Like you are developing this, you are pushing this with all your efforts. Now you are paid, you are hired to do that, and me as a BIM coordinator, I want to employ these tools. I want to learn how I can use them on my projects and in my company, right?
Yes, and I think everybody heard about Building Smart, and there are chapters in many countries. We have chapter in Norway, which is quite active, and there are a lot of rooms within Building Smart, like the technical room, but also, I don't know, the product room, rail, and there are a lot of parts of Building Smart. But I joined the technical group of Building Smart International, which is, as the name suggests, it's the international part of Building Smart, and we are trying to support all of those activities in countries and in each of the rooms. For example, by helping people use the tools that we work on, use the standards, and we are also looking for feedback. So I'm really open to hear your comments, or any of you who are listening to us. If you have some suggestions, we are open to that, and I'm here to spread the interesting things we are working on and to bring openBIM to you guys.
That's very cool, and like you said, this is a win-win situation. This is the direction we should go for. These are the standards, open standards. Companies should try to look into and try to implement them, right? And then you need partners to develop these tools and these standards quicker, faster, and make them more robust and more appealing to everyone, right? So I think we have the perfect recipe here for success. Before we start going about IDS, tell me a bit about how did you end up actually working at Building Smart International? Whatever you can tell me.
Good question. So as I said, I'm still doing my PhD majority of my time. And at Building Smart, I'm on a part-time position, but it's very related to my PhD as well, because BSDD is a framework for data dictionaries, and I'm dealing with data dictionaries in my PhD as well. So that's also a win-win situation. And I was involved in Building Smart for quite some time, and I was involved in the IDS project, and I was aware of the other initiatives such as BSDD. I attended some events together with Building Smart. I presented, last time was in Montreal, that I presented very long session on circularity and BIM and how we can require circularity in BIM. You can check it on YouTube if you're interested.
Okay.
But at some point I got the offer to make it on a more like weekly basis, so that I also answer to people who want to succeed with BSDD, and also manage the progress on BSDD, because we have limited resources, but we have a lot of great ideas that are waiting to be implemented. I have help we have technical developer, we have other people in the team working on it. So it's not that I only do the work. There is the whole team.
Yeah, but this job that you got right now, you did not replace anyone, right? You just took on a new role?
Well, I didn't replace anyone. There was a project manager, but unfortunately he couldn't continue. Frederick Grant, I don't know if you had the pleasure to speak with him, but yes, he's still involved in BSDD. We have meetings from time to time, and he just couldn't continue. But this project definitely requires attention, because a lot of people are interested in it, and there are a lot of things that need some management.
Yeah, you know what? For me, these two standards, or however you might call them, IDS and BSDD, I see them as crucial for adopting technology quicker and automate the way we are working, we are designing, we are building, and we are managing projects. So IDS, let's begin with that. That's the past, your past, and then we'll continue with the present.
Well, I definitely, IDS is not a past. It's more like not only present but the future as well.
No, I mean like in your career, like you worked more with that.
Yeah, definitely. So I have to make one correction because, but you said I will call it differently, and I will. So IDS is a standard. It's one of the openBIM standards from Building Smart, and it just recently got into the voting, and soon will become a candidate standard, as it is called. So it will change the status. And BSDD is not a standard. BSDD is implementing standards from ISO. And what it is, it's more like a service from Building Smart. So there are already ISO standards. I will mention them, but we don't need to go too deep into those, that tell you what is a data dictionary and how it should look, what it should do. And BSDD is implementation, one of the couple implementations of those standards. Mm-hmm. And since Building Smart is the body that hosts it, that provides this service, it's supposed to help the industry apply it, because otherwise that would be probably would take some more time. But IDS, I hope many of you are familiar with IDS, but those that don't know, it's Information Delivery Standard Specification, which is a standard from Building Smart. And in simple terms, IDS is a common way to express our requirements, to specify them. And those requirements until recently, we had many ways to do that. We often used Excel, we used some tools that were helping with that. And what we missed is this opportunity to take the requirements from one product to the other, or to validate what we require against IFC. And IDS is supposed to fill this gap, so that we have openBIM way to not only express, but also to validate requirements in a very robust way. So we can call IDS a machine interpretable standard. So it's not only readable by machines, because PDFs are also readable by machines, but it can be interpreted, and the software will be able to tell, okay, this model is passing all of the requirements, but this one fails, and then we can get the report. And that's what it is. It's actually quite simple standard, much simpler than other standards you might be familiar with, maybe a bit more advanced than BCF, but still it's using this XML schema to define those concepts.
Let's talk a bit about a quite interesting topic regarding IDS, because although I might be wrong, maybe it was released, but does it has an official release date of the version 1?
No, it's not an official date, but last week, technical director of Building Smart, Leon van Berlo, published that it's going to be soon, because it's already under voting. So I would expect it will take less than a month, and it will be version 1.0. Currently it's 0.9 something, but it won't change. Only the number will change, but it will stay the same as it is, which is good, because we already have a lot of vendors already implemented it in their software. So IDS, even though it's still this beta standard, it's already implemented in a lot of tools.
Like what tools are you talking about?
Like, for example, ACA, USBIM, but recently also Plannerly.
Yeah, I've seen that on LinkedIn today or yesterday, something like that.
It's quite recent, but also XBIM, and of course IFC OpenShell, which you are familiar with. Yes. So this is a project I worked on 2 years ago, and then since I did that project during summer of 2021, then a lot of other coders got involved, and they brought what nowadays we call IFC Tester, which is a part of IFC OpenShell, which is open source code.
And free, by the way, from all the softwares you said. It's very important to specify this. That's the only free tool that it is from the list you gave me. XBIM, even XBIM. I think they have the viewer, the IFC viewer, but I don't think it's free for IDS. I'm not sure.
I'm also not sure, so I won't.
But Plannerly, Plannerly and the US ACA, they are paid products for these features.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to test, it's very easy to do that with Blender BIM. But if you have a subscription for Planoly or something else, then you can also do that. It's definitely maybe more user-friendly, but yeah, you have options.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the whole point, that it's not only that you have to stick with one, but you can take your IDS requirements and you can use them in many other tools. And we can think of, for example, a use case that some organization publishes their IDS requirements, and you can, for example, check it in Blender BIM on your project if your files are compliant with these requirements or not.
IDS, right? The file that you create when you write this IDS, this is a standard or a file format or something, right? Has at its core.
Yeah, so it's a schema. So it's a form in which you should write your requirements. And this form is using quite common format, which is XML. And yeah, the power of it is that it's quite easy to implement whatever you're using. If it's a browser-based software or any other, it's quite easy to implement, especially if you have IFC OpenShell, which is an open source library that can help you with this. But yeah, this is a schema that we are providing as a standard.
How complex is this? How difficult is this for a new beginner to learn and to implement, to write these IDSs?
So I wouldn't recommend writing it in a notebook from scratch, as you don't write also IFC models manually, right, by typing. So I think it's quite simple, but of course, for the end user, for example, BIM coordinators, I would suggest to use the software that allows you to create IDS, but also your files against IDS. It's quite simple. There are not too many things. I could show you the demo website I did 2 years ago, but I have to make a disclaimer that it's not updated to the latest version.
Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted to ask you about. Like, we forgot about the fifth tool, which is also free. At least it was for free, but I don't think it works as expected, right?
Yeah, I didn't list it as one of the tools because it's just the front end of the IFC OpenShell. So it's exactly the same code. I just built this website to demonstrate, because I was participating in Google Summer of Code, which is like a summer project that Google is sponsoring. And I had the pleasure to be mentored by Thomas Kreinen. And that was the project.
So that's why you built that project. Now I understand. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yes. So yeah, in this project, I was working on IFC Tester, which was not called IFC Tester at the time, but I can show you the screen.
Yeah, please do it.
This is this website I built 2 years ago, and it's not updated to the latest version. It's quite behind, but it shows the concept. So in here, you can create your IDS in the browser. And for example, you can fill the description, you can specify the author and so on. And here are your requirements. Right now, I have only one, which says walls need info if load bearing. Then, because this is not
exactly
the case, I can choose from the list IFC wall, and I can say that this IFC wall should have a property called load bearing.
Okay, so you don't get any feedback if what you are typing it's correctly according to IFC schema.
No, that's a part that could be on the side of software.
I'm asking that because I've seen it for IFC wall. When you wrote wall, we could see all those elements, right? And
yes,
that's why.
I built like a predefined list. I must say I'm not a front-end developer. My girlfriend is a front-end developer and architect, but I'm not. But yeah, this was just to demonstrate the idea, the simple idea of IDS. And there are already so many people working on it that I decided, okay, I won't spend more time on this one. But let's just continue. Let's say, okay, from a property set structural, let's make something up. Should be true. And you can add more. You can add more requirements. You can add more things. You could say that this wall needs to be made of some material or follow some classification. And then you will get here the same in the plain text, so that you can copy it to email or copy it to your documents. But the most important part is that you can download this file as IDS XML. So let's just do that now. And then you can open it. Let me just do that. I will just open it with a notepad. And this is it. This is the whole IDS file we just created. It has here one specification and also some metadata, such as, okay, when I created it, what purpose, and so on. But here is the specification itself. So it has two parts, and I will just quickly explain it. And I recommend you to look at the documentation if you're interested in details. But the one part is applicability, which says, okay, what elements should comply with that requirement? In this case, I take the IFC wall, and then what are the requirements? And in this case, I have only one, which says that a property load bearing from a structural property set should have exactly this value. But IDS also allows you to, for example, specify enumeration, so a list of possible values. You can ask for patterns. So for example, that it should start with ABC and so on. So there are a lot of possibilities how you can define it. This demo page doesn't allow for this, but there are other tools. And I think Dion was also working on IFC tester.
Yeah.
I think it's already here. Yeah. So there is more advanced page.
But it's just for you to, you cannot create anything. You can just audit a model here. You cannot create it. It was the plan to do it, but you can just upload the IFC file and the IDS to run the test.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not informed about this, but okay. Yeah. There are many tools that allow you to create IDS and also to validate models. Yeah.
But the plan was actually to develop this further, but we did not get the chance to iron out the details to continue to try to develop the possibility to generate also IDSs. It might come when Dion will get some time and go ahead with it, but we will see.
Just a side note, everything related to IDS, almost everything can be found on the GitHub of Building Smart. If you go to IDS repository, and for those that are not aware of GitHub, it's more like a Dropbox for code. So you have here folders with documents, and you can find the documentation of IDS, but also in the development, you can find the latest version of IDS. And here is what your software needs to know about IDS. And here is a long list of all of the possible things that you can do. But what's also important here, you can also see the examples. For example, there is IDS for wood and windows, and you can use those files to check if you can use it. But it's quite useful.
Yeah, definitely. I've been looking through these files the last weeks, and I'll try to make some videos about this with my beginner understanding of them.
Good. Yeah. So this is it about IDS. It's very useful, but I don't think there is much more to tell about IDS itself.
Yeah, there is something actually, because this was the weird part about this. Although this is not released yet, I know at least a couple of people using it officially at work. How much can you tell me about that part? Or how much do you know about this?
Of course, since it's useful, you can use it. The official status is just something that gives, maybe the credibility to this standard. But with all of the standards, it takes time to approve, to go through this official process. But since, for example, Dion, I think he was one of the first to use IDS in his work. So I know people that started using it 2 years ago when it was like the first beta version. And that's also the beauty of it, that it's useful.
That's the risk with it, though, if you don't have an official version, that a lot of changes might occur in a short span of time. And that's nicer when you get the official version. You know that you'll get some consistency.
Yes, exactly. Right now, IDS is grown enough to soon become, the version 1.0. So I don't expect any other changes in the near future.
I hope this will provide no excuses approach anymore for more people interested to try it and for more companies to try to use it. So that's why I'm very excited about this, because now we remove that part, like you said, because a lot of people are blocked just when they see that, well, this is not official. Although it's quite late version 0.9, it's very close to official version, right? Because the same with IFC4, I got someone commenting, I think on one of my posts this week about using IFC4 over IFC2 X3, because if it's not certified software, you won't use it, right? And you will just default to worse quality of information. I don't like that mindset. I think differently. But this helps in this situation. Getting things officially, remove these barriers.
Yeah, but of course, I see the point that some organizations, they run projects for years and they need to have some certainty, and yes, certified software provide that certainty, but it takes time not only to implement new versions, but also to update the software. So of course, things go much quicker if you have community like OSArch driving things, but sometimes some processes when it comes to standardization, they take time.
Yeah, I think we covered quite well IDS.